Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Ballcard Show. We've been talking a lot in the last couple episodes of the podcast about a big issue that's been going on with eBay in February of 2025. eBay standard envelope has had issues for quite some time, but most recently we had an issue in the middle of February where for about a 3 to 5 day window, sellers from all over the country were having packages that they dropped off at the post office that were never scanned by the USPS, or so we were told. There was no tracking from eBay for the EUS tracking number. And as these have been moving along, you can imagine we've had a bunch of customers reach out. We've had scammers try to take advantage of the fact that they don't see any scans. And eBay is finally saying, yeah, we screwed up. We're working on it. That's the best we're going to get from it. I can say that I was able to find a workaround that will be helpful to you. Now, this can't guarantee that you won't have any issues with buyers when they say that they haven't received an item. This can't guarantee that eBay will cite in your favor. However, I did find a way to find some USPS scans on some of these items that were not showing up on eBay itself under their tracking or under USPS. So I'm going to show you how I did that. Now, the results that I've had with this. In the last week, I had, 8 claims, 8 cases for items not received. All of them, because of this, the buyer decided to remove the case, or close the case because, they were able to see that the card was either delivered if they were trying to scam me, or I was able to give them tracking information that they couldn't see anywhere else. And now they realize, oh, this guy did ship this in time. It's on the way. It's just taking a while. So I'm going to turn this camera around. Nothing fancy here. Don't even know how to screen record yet, okay? But I'm just going to show you an approach you can take that'll be helpful to you. Okay, so I'm just going to run through a couple of scenarios that took place for me, and then the first thing I'm going to do is show you how you can look up alternate tracking to get a real tracking number. So basically, sometimes when you drop off an eBay standard envelope, it does not show as scanned on eBay's platform, but that does not mean that it isn't being scanned. Now, some people say just have them scan it at the post office. It does not work like that with eBay standard envelope. These are scanned at distribution hubs. So I live in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio. The post office I drop it off at, it goes to a hub downtown before it ever gets a scan. So you can't just ask for a scan. But when eBay's tracking service has failed, it's going to show up like you've never shipped it. It's going to show up like you've printed the tracking information, you put a label on this thing, but it doesn't necessarily show that you dropped it off. So what do we do with this? Well, I'm just going to pull up an example here. This was an order that I had some issues with tracking on, was able to work it out with the buyer because I was able to show them that this had been moving along. Now, in this particular case, the tracking has updated at this point, but as you can see, this is February 8th, and today is, the 22nd, 23rd? So it's been several days. So the first thing I would do if there's no tracking and you get a message from a buyer is I come to this order. You see how each of these have a tracking number. I'm just going to click on this one. I will right click the EUS tracking number. That's eBay standard envelope. If you try to copy and paste an EUS tracking number into USPS or any other tracking site, you're probably not going to see much of a response. But there are some third-party websites that will allow for you to not only track, but to get what's the equivalent of a 00-digit first-class package tracking number. So the first site that I think you should check out is trackmyshipment.co. Trackmyshipment.co. And then I'm just going to paste in this EUS number. This is eBay Standards Envelope's number for this item. Now, this says that the package is still in transit. Spoiler alert, it has arrived, it was delivered, and the buyer has already addressed this. Before they addressed this and received the package, they opened 7 cases against me because it was a 7-card multi-quantity order. Now, again, 4 or 5 of those were in one order. eBay does not care. They're going to treat it as if you have separate cases, even if they purchase multiple cards in each order. So this shows that it has not arrived yet, 1 to 3 days. But if you go down here to the bottom, you'll see a 00 tracking number. And right beside that, you see this is from eBay. It is a USPS first class letter. So now we have a tracking number that we can actually work with. A 00 number that will show up on other third-party tracking sites. So what I do here is I copy that tracking number, and then I'm going to another site. This is parcelsapp.com. And then I'm just going to copy and paste in this 00 number just to see if they have any different information. In this case, it's showing the same thing. It's still showing it's in transit, but look at all of these scans. Now, when the case was opened, none of these scans were showing up on eBay's side. So this was shipped out on the 8th, I believe, and look, it shows label created by the 10th. It hit the distribution hub. It made its way over there. It looks like it stalled out for about 10 days. That's the window when they opened the case, and then it popped back up. But what I was able to do is communicate with the buyer. Hey, I know that it doesn't show it on eBay, but I pulled up this tracking, and it appears like it's on the way. This is a buyer that said, awesome, this is great. They weren't trying to scam me. They really wanted the cards, which is 99.9% of the buyers out there. There are plenty of scammers, and I'll explain one of those situations here in a moment and show you how that worked out. But this just gave me a way to show the buyer something that, hey, I've shipped this and it's moving and it's heading towards you. Fortunately for me, yesterday I noticed a positive review for this order. So I reached out and said, hey, is this delivered? They said yes. You still have to ask them to close out the case of item not received. They closed out all 7 of them. They thanked me so much for going above and beyond on communication. And most importantly for me, we had a win-win. The buyer got their cards, and I had those cases ruled in my favor because, well, it wasn't ruled. The buyer just closed them. Hey, I've received the package. It arrived on time. Now, am I still going to have INR metrics in my seller metrics? Yes, because eBay's system is broken with this. They're not going to reward you even though you went the extra mile, but it keeps you from having a case that goes to eBay to be resolved. So that's one scenario. You can pull up additional tracking through these third-party sites, and I really recommend doing that because here in a moment, I'm going to show you when I was, someone was attempting to scam me last week, and this worked in my favor. So I'm just going to show you over here the information on this. So they open a case. This was after I've learned about this tracking information that I can pull it up on third-party sites. They said they never received the card. They want a refund. Well, in this scenario, I was able to enter that third-party tracking information, and while eBay showed 0 tracking, I had this through the Parcels app, which this is the Pitney Bowes tracking service. It shows that I did ship it, and in this case, they tried to open up the case of item not received 5 days after it was delivered. The buyer assumed that because eBay doesn't have tracking for it, this was a slam dunk for them to keep the card and to have a refund for it. And then I just get to bear the weight of that. So I think that because eBay standard envelope are typically cheaper cards, it may attract a certain type of buyer a little bit more. And most people know about the PIP claim. So their thought is, well, if I rip them off, it's not going to hurt them because they're going to get their refund. What they don't realize is how much those cases hurt us. So in this particular situation, I ran that same process of pulling the tracking number, converting it from a EUS to a 00 number. I put it through both of these sites, and I had this delivered information. So I went back to the buyer. I said they said they said they didn't receive it, and I just posted a screenshot of it showing as delivered. I said, it looks like it was delivered 5 days ago. Any chance you have mistaken it for a different order you were waiting on? I'm giving them a chance here. I'm sorry, this isn't the card. I haven't received it. Okay. It shows the address in Pitney Bowes, and all these are USPS scans. I'm just giving you a fair shot before it goes to eBay. It's up to you. I don't care about a refund, but a case really hurts sellers. I'm really, really trying. Now, at this point, what I've done, as soon as I sent that, is I went into the item not received case and I updated tracking. Okay, so whenever you have a case like that, I don't have an open one right now to show you, but you can update tracking if you have an item not received case. One of the options for updated tracking is Pitney Bowes, not USPS, not eBay standard envelope, Pitney Bowes, who is on each of these labels. Let's see if I can show you one without giving up somebody's personal information. I don't know if you can see this with the lighting. That's really poor lighting. But right up there across the top, Pitney Bowes. So that's who is printing that's who the service for the labels is going through. Once I updated it to that, it was within a minute or two that I see, oh, no, you're fine. I received the card. It was a different seller I was trying to contact. And to that, I just replied, could you please update the case you opened? 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, they say, yes, they closed the case. They received the card. I instantly blocked the buyer so that they can never buy from me again. But all of this to say is there are some workarounds that can be helpful. Is it one answer for everything? No, but it's a step. It gives you some leverage. And in this case, it helped me to close out 8 items not received due to eBay's failed eBay standard envelope service. Okay, so that is helpful for you, but I'm not going to be naive enough to think that that's going to solve all the issues. Actively right now, even though that this has helped me on a lot of cases, helped me update tracking, keep cases from being open, I still have 90 packages, 89 packages I woke up to this morning that are new packages that never scanned through USPS or eBay. Some of these packages were shipped out a week ago. Some of them were in the last few days. Most of these I think are getting exactly where they need to go, and most buyers are getting the packages, but there's not protection for me on that. Some of them don't even show up on those other sites. So you have to be vigilant with this. Unfortunately, I think this is an issue that either eBay solves the problem with their software, or they're going to have to let this program go. 90 packages for me puts me within 1 percentage point of losing top-rated seller status. Even though these packages are on the way, even though I've done everything eBay has asked me to do, even though every single package falls within the scope of what's required for eBay standard envelope, they do not care. And unfortunately, taking responsibility is not a strong suit. So I hope that for you, this may be a little bit of a workaround. If nothing else, it gives you a conversation point with the buyer to show good faith that you have done your part. I don't know what else to say of eBay. If you follow the podcast, you know I've been giving them plenty of attention, but hopefully this is helpful to you. Stay on top of your shipping. Now, what this does not make up for, if you're chronically late to shipping items, this is gonna make you look horrible. I'm somebody that ships next day on all of these things. If it's a weekend, it goes out first thing Monday, and I'm getting hit with 90 of these as somebody that's moved several thousand cards in the last couple months. So you got to stay on top of your stuff. You still have to take care of the buyer. It's not the buyer's fault that eBay sucks. Like, that's important to remember. It's on us to take care of them. And they bought something and they just want what they purchased. And we just want it to get to them. If you have to do a claim, go for it. But don't be afraid to ask the buyer to consider closing the case. If you can show that it's delivered, or you can at least give them an update and peace of mind, it's probably going to go a long way for resolving those items not received cases. Good luck. Stick with it. I'm in it with you. We haven't figured this out yet, but it's something. It's given us something we can work with, and hopefully that 00 tracking number is a little bit helpful for you as you're trying to navigate all these items not received until eBay figures out how to do their job. Thanks.